Your legs aren't getting weaker because of age. They're starving. Starving for oxygen, starving for movement, starving for proper blood flow. And the most dangerous part is this. It's happening quietly, while you tell yourself everything is fine. While you say, this is just what happens after 60, that lie is costing you strength every single day. Right now, blood that should be freely reaching your legs is slowing down, thickening, struggling. And when blood slows, everything slows. Healing, balance, endurance, confidence. You feel it when you stand up. You feel it when stairs look taller than they used to. You feel it when walking feels like effort instead of freedom. This isn't aging. This is neglect. You know something is wrong, even if you don't say it out loud. Your legs feel heavier than they should, colder than they used to, sometimes numb, sometimes tight, sometimes painful for no clear reason. And instead of facing it, you normalize it. You accept discomfort as a new baseline. That's the trap. Because circulation problems don't announce themselves with emergencies at first. They whisper. They warn. They test how long you'll ignore them. And most people fail that test. They wait until walking becomes difficult, until cramps wake them at night, until swelling becomes routine. By then, the damage has been building for years. Here's a hard truth most people don't want to hear. If blood can't reach your legs efficiently, your legs will never feel strong, no matter how many excuses you make. Muscles don't move without oxygen. Nerves don't fire properly without nutrients. Tissues don't repair themselves without circulation. This isn't opinion, it's biology. Yet people over 60 are taught to accept weakness as destiny instead of seeing it as a signal. And signals ignored turn into consequences. Loss of balance, fear of falling, shorter walks, smaller lives, not because the body failed, but because attention did. Another uncomfortable truth, doing nothing is a decision. Every day you delay supporting your circulation, you choose stiffness over strength, dependence over independence, and the body keeps score. Blood vessels that aren't supported become less flexible. Flow becomes more restricted. The legs pay the price first because they're farthest from the heart and easiest to neglect. That's why leg circulation problems show up before bigger warnings. They're the early alarm. And ignoring alarms has never ended well for anyone. You don't need extreme measures to start changing this, but you do need honesty. No supplement, no exercise, no habit works if you keep telling yourself the problem isn't real. The moment you admit that your legs deserve better blood flow, better nourishment, better daily support, you regain control. Small actions done consistently outperform big promises made once. Circulation responds fast when you finally give it what it needs. Blood vessels aren't stubborn. They're responsive, but only if you stop starving. This is where mindset matters more than motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline doesn't. You don't wait to feel like supporting your body. You do it because the cost of not doing it is too high. You don't ask if it's worth it. You ask what your life looks like if you keep walking down the same path. Shorter walks, more sitting, more fear, less freedom. That future isn't inevitable, but it is predictable if nothing changes. Your body is not asking for miracles. It's asking for support, for circulation that moves instead of stalls, for daily habits that remind your blood vessels how to function properly. The earlier you respond, the faster the response back. Strength begins when flow improves. Confidence follows movement. Independence follows strength. But it all starts with one honest realization. Your legs are not weak because of age. They are weak because they have been underfed by blood for too long. And that is something you still have the power to change. You feel it before. Anyone else notices? When you stand up and your legs hesitate. When the first few steps feel stiff, unsure, almost foreign. When walking that once felt automatic now requires focus. And you tell yourself it's nothing. You tell yourself this is just what life looks like now. But deep down, you know that explanation doesn't sit right. Your body is speaking to you, and you've been muting the message. Heavy legs, cold feet, tingling, tight calves, random aches that come and go without warning. These are not random. They are signals, clear ones, and the longer you ignore them, the louder they get. What's happening in your legs is happening in your blood flow. Circulation is slowing down. And when circulation slows, your entire lower body pays the price. Blood is supposed to deliver oxygen, nutrients, and life to every inch of you. When it struggles to reach your legs, those tissues start running on empty. That's why fatigue shows up so fast. That's why recovery takes longer. That's why you feel weaker than you should. Not because you're old, because your legs are undersupplied. Here's the uncomfortable part you may not want to admit. You've been adapting instead of addressing. You sit more. You move less. You avoid long walks. You choose convenience over challenge. And every time you do that, circulation declines a little more. The body adapts to what you demand from it. Demand less movement, less flow, less strength, and that's exactly what you get. This isn't punishment. It's physics. Blood follows activity. Muscles follow blood. Life follows motion. You may think the problem is pain, but pain is just a symptom. The real issue is stagnation. Blood pooling instead of circulating, vessels losing their flexibility, muscles not being fed properly. And here's a hard truth most people over 60 never hear clearly enough. Waiting makes it worse. Circulation problems don't improve on their own. They don't magically reverse with time. Time only helps if you use it intentionally. Otherwise, it works against you. Another harsh realization, medications can mask symptoms, but they don't rebuild flow. Pills may dull discomfort, but they don't teach blood vessels how to open, relax, and move efficiently again. If your daily habits are still starving your legs, no prescription will save you from weakness, and pretending otherwise only delays real improvement. The body responds to support, not denial. You don't need to be extreme. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. But you do need to stop lying to yourself. Stop saying it's not that bad. Stop saying others have it worse. Your standard should not be decline. Your standard should be function, strength, confidence in your own steps, the ability to move without fear or hesitation. Those things matter, and losing them slowly doesn't make the loss acceptable. The moment you start paying attention to circulation, everything changes. You become aware of how your legs feel during the day. You notice what helps and what hurts. You stop normalizing discomfort. You stop accepting weakness as your identity. That awareness alone is powerful because awareness leads to action, and action leads to flow. Your legs don't need sympathy. They need blood. They need consistency. They need daily support that tells your body, we are not done yet. Every step you take toward improving circulation is a step away from dependence and a step toward control. You are not fragile. You are under-supported. And once you stop ignoring that truth, you give your body permission to respond. Most people believe weakness begins in the muscles. That belief is wrong. Weakness begins in the blood. When circulation slows, muscles are the first to suffer, especially in the legs. They're far from the heart, easy to neglect, and quick to decline when blood can't reach them properly. This isn't theory, it's biology. Oxygen doesn't arrive on time, nutrients don't get delivered efficiently, waste doesn't get eared fast enough. And slowly, quietly, strength drains away. Here's the harsh truth you need to face. Pain is not the problem. Pain is the warning. Cramping, aching, burning, tightness, these are your legs signaling distress. And when those signals are ignored, the body adapts by lowering expectations. You walk shorter distances. You move slower. You rest more often. That feels reasonable in the moment, but it's the exact behavior that accelerates decline. Less movement means less blood flow. Less blood flow means weaker legs. The cycle tightens every day, you don't break it. Another truth most people avoid, circulation doesn't fail suddenly. It fades, gradually. So gradually that you convince yourself nothing serious is happening. You compare yourself to others. You say, I'm doing better than most my age. But that comparison is a trap. Your body doesn't care about averages. It responds only to what you demand from it. If you demand less movement, less effort, less engagement, your blood vessels respond by narrowing, stiffening, and slowing down. There's also this lie people tell themselves, I'll deal with it when it gets bad. That moment is closer than you think. By the time circulation problems feel serious, they've already been present for years. Damage doesn't wait for permission. It builds quietly in the background while you stay busy, distracted, or in denial. And once blood flow is compromised long enough, recovery becomes harder, slower, and more frustrating. This is why ignoring circulation is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make after 60. It steals strength before you notice it's gone. It steals confidence before you realize you're afraid of falling. It steals independence in small, polite ways that don't feel dramatic until one day they are. One day you hesitate to leave the house. One day stairs feel like a threat. One day you realize your world has shrunk. But here's what matters. This process is not irreversible at the early and middle stages. Blood vessels are responsive. They adapt when you support them. They open when you give them the right signals. Flow improves when you stop feeding stagnation and start feeding circulation. That means taking the warning seriously now, not later. It means respecting the biology instead of negotiating with it. You don't need to panic. You need to wake up. Weak legs are not your destiny. They are feedback. And feedback is only useless if you ignore it. You've been taught to believe that the solution comes in a bottle, a pill to manage it, a prescription to quiet it, something external to fix what's happening inside you. That belief keeps people stuck. Medication can reduce symptoms, but it does not teach your blood vessels how to function better. It doesn't restore flexibility. It doesn't improve flow on its own. And relying on it while ignoring daily habits is how problems quietly grow. Here's the brutal realization most people avoid. You cannot outsource circulation. No doctor, no pill, no treatment, can replace what your body needs every single day. Blood flow responds to support, not shortcuts. When vessels aren't nourished, hydrated, and stimulated properly, they stiffen. When they stiffen, blood struggles to move. And when blood struggles, your legs pay the price first. Another uncomfortable truth is this: doing nothing feels safe, but it's the riskiest option of all. Inaction convinces you that you're avoiding harm, when in reality, you're allowing decline. Every day you postpone addressing circulation, your body adapts to less movement, less flow, less strength. And the longer that pattern continues, the harder it is to reverse. This is where honesty matters. If you're waiting for pain to force you into action, you're already late. Pain is a signal of stress, not a starting point for change. Circulation problems don't improve because you tough it out. They improve when you consistently support blood vessel health. That support doesn't come. E from extremes. It comes from simple, repeatable actions done daily without excuses. You don't need complicated routines to get results. You need alignment between what your body needs and what you give it. Blood vessels respond to hydration, warmth, nutrients, and movement. Deprive them of those and they shrink back. Feed them consistently and they open up. This is not motivation talk. This is physiology. The mistake many people make is believing small actions don't matter. They do. In fact, small actions are the only ones that matter long term. One daily habit that supports circulation does more for your legs than a dozen intense efforts done once and abandoned. The body trusts consistency. It ignores chaos. Stop looking for a rescue. Start building support. Your legs don't need saving. They need blood flow. And that is something you can influence starting now, not someday, not when it gets worse, but today. There is a simple shift that makes the body respond faster than most people expect. Not a complicated routine, not an extreme cleanse. A basic daily drink that supports circulation instead of blocking it. The reason it matters is not because it's trendy, but because it works with the body instead of against it. Warm water to begin with, because cold shuts vessels down and warmth tells them to open. That alone already helps blood move more freely instead of tightening and slowing. Then comes beetroot, not as a miracle. The legs with enough force to nourish them properly. Beetroot supports that signaling system naturally. It doesn't force anything. It reminds your body of a function it already knows how to perform. When nitric oxide levels improve, blood vessels widen just enough to let flow increase. That means more oxygen delivered to leg muscles, more nutrients reaching nerves, better removal of waste that causes stiffness and pain. The result isn't instant fireworks. It's steady improvement that feels more natural than dramatic. Ginger adds another layer of support by stimulating circulation and reducing sluggishness in the system. It gently encourages blood to move instead of pool. Warm water enhances everything by improving absorption and telling your nervous system that it's safe to relax the vessels instead of constricting them. These elements work together, not as a miracle cure, but as a biological conversation with your body. And when the conversation is repeated daily, the body listens. Here's a hard truth. Your body doesn't respond to occasional effort. It responds to patterns. One good day does nothing if followed by 6 days of neglect. Circulation improves when support becomes routine, not when it becomes an experiment. That's why so many people fail to see results. They treat their health like a trial instead of a commitment. Another reality most people overlook is that circulation improves faster than muscle strength. Blood flow changes first. Warmth returns before power. Ease of movement shows up before endurance. These early signs are not placebo. They're feedback, signals that the system is waking up. When people ignore those signs or stop too soon, they interrupt progress just as it begins. This isn't about believing in something. It's about respecting how the body adapts. Blood vessels regain flexibility when you stop starving them. They respond to consistent signals of warmth, nutrients, and movement. And once circulation improves, everything built on top of it becomes easier. Walking, balance, recovery, confidence. The mistake is expecting one action to carry all the weight. The truth is simpler. Support the system daily and the system supports you back. Ignore it and decline continues quietly. Circulation doesn't ask for motivation. It asks for consistency. Most. People wait for a breaking point before they take circulation seriously. They tell themselves they'll act when the pain becomes unbearable, when walking becomes impossible, when fear finally outweighs denial. That delay is expensive. By the time circulation problems feel urgent, they've already reshaped how you move, how you think, and how much you trust your own body. Waiting doesn't buy time. It steals it. Here's the harsh reality. Damage doesn't pause because you're busy or hopeful. Blood vessels that stay constricted too long lose their flexibility. Muscles that don't receive enough oxygen adapt by shrinking. Nerves that aren't nourished start misfiring. And none of this announces itself loudly at first. It happens while life goes on, while you adapt, while you say, I'm managing. Managing is not the same as improving. Another truth people avoid is this. Pain is a late signal. By the time discomfort becomes constant, circulation has already been compromised for years. Early signs are subtle: coldness, heaviness, tingling, stiffness after sitting. Those are the moments when change is easiest. Those are the moments most people dismiss. And once they pass, the climb back becomes steeper. There's also the mental cost of waiting. Every time you hesitate, every time you avoid movement because you don't trust your legs, confidence erodes. Fear replaces instinct. You start thinking twice about steps you used to take without thought. That hesitation tightens the body further, restricting flow even more. The problem becomes physical and psychological at the same time, feeding itself. But here's what matters. This decline is not fate. It's feedback. The body is constantly communicating what it needs. When circulation improves, fear eases. When blood flows better, movement feels safer. When movement feels safer, you move more. That loop can work for you or against you, depending on whether you act or wait. You don't need a dramatic wake-up call to change direction. You need to stop postponing responsibility. Every day you choose to support circulation is a day you slow decline and create space for improvement. Every day you delay, the body adapts to less. This isn't about urgency for the sake of fear. It's about timing. The earlier you respond, the more your body can recover. Blood vessels respond quickly when given the right signals, but only if you give them before stiffness becomes permanent. The window for improvement doesn't close suddenly. It narrows slowly while you hesitate. If you want stronger legs tomorrow, the decision has to be made today, not when it gets worse, not when someone scares you into action. Now everything changes the moment you stop asking if decline is normal and start asking what your body needs to function better. That single question shifts you from passive to active, from accepting to directing. Most people never make that shift. They let age define their limits instead of letting their choices shape their future. And the body responds exactly to that mindset. The truth is, your body is not confused. It knows how to heal, adapt, and regain function when conditions are right. What holds people back is the belief that improvement is no longer possible. That belief shuts down effort before the body even gets a chance to respond. Once you stop seeing weakness as permanent and start seeing it as a signal, you regain leverage. Circulation improves when you respect it daily, not occasionally, not when it's convenient, daily. That means choosing habits that promote flow instead of stagnation, hydration instead of dehydration, warmth instead of constriction, movement instead of stillness. These are not dramatic actions, but they are decisive ones. They tell your nervous system that the body is safe to open, safe to move, safe to adapt. Another reality people overlook is that the body doesn't respond to age, it responds to environment. If the environment inside you supports flow, blood moves. If it supports stagnation, blood slows. Age only magnifies the effects of your habits. It doesn't create them. That's why two people of the same age can have completely different mobility. One lives with intention, the other lives with excuses. The mindset shift is simple but uncomfortable. Stop negotiating with decline. Stop saying, I'll start when I feel better. Feeling better comes after you start, not before. The body rewards action with feedback, warmth, ease, stability. Those signals don't show up if you wait for certainty. They show up when you commit. This isn't about chasing youth. It's about protecting function, walking confidently, standing without hesitation, trusting your legs again. Those are not luxury goals. They are foundations of independence. And independence doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes when small daily decisions are ignored. When you align your habits with what circulation needs, progress stops feeling forced. It feels logical, natural, earned. And once that shift happens, you stop fighting your body and start working with it. That cooperation is where real strength returns. One daily action does more than any single motivational speech or temporary effort ever could. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing the right thing consistently. Supporting circulation is not a one-time fix. It's a pattern, a commitment, a repeated signal to your body that blood should move, vessels should open, and legs should receive what they've been starving for. That simple consistency compounds quietly until the results are undeniable. Excuses are the enemy here. I'll start tomorrow. It's too late. I don't feel mot. I waited. Every excuse slows blood just as effectively as physical neglect. Circulation doesn't negotiate. It responds to action. You can delay change, but you can't delay the consequences. And every day you postpone, your legs get heavier, slower, and more cautious. Here's the reality most people refuse to face. Action doesn't have to be dramatic to be effective. One small habit done daily is enough to reverse years of stagnation. Warm water, beetroot, ginger, or lemon. That's it. That simple combination delivers nutrients, stimulates nitric oxide production, and signals your vessels to open. Over time, What feels small becomes enormous. Strength returns, ease returns, confidence returns. The body doesn't demand motivation. It demands repetition. It doesn't care if you feel inspired. It cares if you act. Every day you follow through, you reinforce the systems that have been ignored for decades. Every day you skip, you reinforce decline. There is no gray area. This is brutal but true. Circulation improves only when you stop talking about it and start supporting it. Most people over 60 wait until they're forced to move. Don't be most people. Start before the crisis. Respond while it's still easy. Build momentum while the vessels are still flexible. Take control while the signals from your legs are still subtle, not urgent. The difference between waiting and acting is measured in mobility, independence, and confidence, not just in weeks, but in years of life lived fully. This is where discipline becomes freedom. Small, consistent action doesn't just improve circulation. It restores trust in your own body. It gives you control. It protects your independence. And it proves every single day that age is not an excuse, it's just a number. Your legs are capable of more than you've allowed. The only thing standing in the way is inaction. Start today. Feed your circulation, respect your body, strengthen what's been neglected. This one decision becomes the foundation for every step, every movement, every moment of independence that follows.